Good. Okay, good morning, everyone. We're here with Dave Galea again from the Alberta Emergency Management Agency. He'll provide an update community by community about what's going on, and then we'll take callers, questions from callers on the line as well as here in the room. Go ahead, Dave.
Good morning. My name is Dave Galea. I'm with the Alberta Emergency Management Agency, and I'd like to give you an update on the flooding situation in southern Alberta. The Provincial Operations Centre remains at level 4, our highest level of activation to assist communities to manage this disaster. Our focus has shifted from response into recovery so that we help communities get their citizens back into their homes as quickly as possible and life back to as normal as possible, given the scope of the issues faced. There are currently 18 states of local emergency still active in the province. So that's a reduction from yesterday, so it's a sign that things are improving. There's still a large number of evacuees out of their homes, particularly in Calgary, High River, and several First Nations have evacuations that are still in place. The weather forecast in Alberta calls for rain over the area affected, but not in an amount that will cause any significant issues for us in the next 24 hours. So I'd like to talk about campgrounds. The long weekend is coming up, and Albertans, we can expect Albertans to try and head into the backcountry. It's important for people to check to make sure that the campgrounds that they intend to go to are still open. Many have been closed as a result of the flooding situation. You can find that information on the Government of Alberta website. And of course, people should obey the closure signs when a park is closed. It's closed for reasons of safety. So we want to make sure that Albertans stay safe, obey the closures if that's the case. 12 highways remain closed in the province. 3 have restricted traffic, and 3 ferry crossings remain closed. That said, excellent progress is being made in opening the highways, particularly with Highway 1. We can anticipate more details soon. The need for Canadian Forces support is reduced now that we're shifting into recovery. CF resources at the current time continue to support the town of High River, and other assets remain located in the vicinity of Canmore. As of 24 June, most affected First Nation communities are under boil water advisories, and they are receiving support from the Canadian Red Cross, which is currently operating in the Siksika, Morley, and Tsuut'ina reserves. So river forecast. There are still active flood warnings and flood watches on various river basins in the province. We would encourage Albertans to stay away from the banks of the river. Many of the banks are still unstable. Water levels remain high, and we're concerned for the safety of people that might go too close to the rivers. Again, you can get more information on the situation on the rivers on the ESRD website or the Alberta Emergency Alert website. So we strongly encourage everyone that's evacuated from their communities to stay connected with their loved ones, and to register with the communities so that the communities can track their citizens and provide the best help possible. To that end, the Canadian Red Cross has established a 1-800 number that people can use to both to find out how to register and to check on their loved ones. So that number is 1-866-696-6484. So I'll say that again, 1-866-696-6484. The Government of Alberta has also set up a call center for Albertans to be able to get information on the flood situation. And that number is 310-310-4455. 310-4455. It will be operational as of 8 o'clock this morning. So I'd like now to give you an update by community. So the City of Calgary renewed its statement of local emergency yesterday, the 25th of June. Those statement of local emergencies typically are active for 7 days. All single-family dwellings outside of the downtown core have been cleared for re-entry in the city. Residents are asked to report re-entry information to the City of Calgary, and they've set up a website for that and an information center to make that possible. More information on that can be found at the City of Calgary website. Approximately 2,000 residents remain displaced within the city, and significant progress is being made to reopen the downtown core, with many of the downtown buildings, power to the buildings sorted out, which has been one of the large issues. Pleased to say that the LRT service has been restored to the downtown core, and that the first trains resumed yesterday morning, 24 June. High River. So 80% of the town is without power and basic services, and the town has commenced the process of dewatering the town. The statement of local emergency remains, and the evacuation order remain in effect. We're aware that there's still citizens within the town. The town is still considered to be unsafe, and we encourage those citizens to comply with the evacuation order. The province has provided the town with the assistance in the form of a planning team, and the town leadership is well on the way to developing plans for re-entry and the recovery of the town. We've also supported the community with technical advice in the form of inspection teams that will assist them to assess the various homes and structures to determine whether they're safe to re-enter and to reoccupy. So staff from other municipalities and the Environment and Sustainable Development are assisting the town in staffing their emergency operations center. Later today, the incident management team from Lethbridge will redeploy home and will be replaced by an incident management team from Strathcona County. And I would emphasize that these teams are not going over to take over. They're reinforcing the town emergency management staff and assisting them to manage the issues that confront them. Canmore. So all mandatory evacuation orders have been lifted. However, there are a number of homes that can't be reoccupied. They're extensive damage and not safe to return to. Those residents have been put up in local hotels in the area, or they're staying with family and friends. A boil water advisory is in effect for the town of Canmore. Traffic along highways 1, 1A, and 40 are still restricted. Work has begun in the area to repair the damaged bridges. There's 3 bridges in the vicinity of Canmore that require repair, and there's also a temporary bridge being put in place as a detour on the Trans-Canada Highway between Banff and Canmore. I apologize. That temporary replacement bridge is actually in the vicinity of the East Park Gate and Carrot Creek. Municipal District of Bighorn and Exshaw. There are issues remaining there with utilities, and the town is working to resolve those issues. And that's with septic systems, gas, and power. Turner Valley, the water is safe to drink. Mandatory evacuation order has been lifted. Black Diamond, the town continues to work to maintain their supply of potable water. Mandatory water conservation is in effect until further notice. Telephone service in the town remains limited to cell service only. They're working to get the landline back up and running and expect that to happen fairly soon. A river diversion project is being put in place to reduce the river levels, and that is progressing well. Crow's Nest Pass. Crow's Nest Pass statement of local emergency was terminated 23 June. Drumheller. As of 5 p.m., 24 June, the mandatory evacuation order was lifted. Now, not all residents are able to reoccupy their homes. They are able to get to their homes, but they may not be able to live in them due to damage. Crews continue to work in the town to pump water out of basements and that sort of thing, and those activities are well underway. The patients evacuated from the Drumheller Hospital will be returned to the hospital, and that activity started yesterday and will carry on until all patients are returned. Medicine Hat, re-entry activities continue today with more home and business inspections scheduled. The water treatment plant is fully operational, and sewage lift stations are starting to come back online. Kananaskis, a total of 1,212 people were evacuated from the backcountry. The province is working on a plan to get those people back to their vehicles, equipment, and campsites that were left behind as they were evacuated, and details will follow on exactly what that process will be soon. A boil water advisory is in effect. Stony Tribe Morley. Many roads remain impassable in the area, and the band is working hard to repair those roads and return mobility. An Alberta Emergency Management Agency field officer remains deployed in that location, and the role of that field officer is to provide advice and assistance as required. Users of private water systems, those on wells and cisterns, have been told to boil water. Stony Tribe Bighorn, no assistance is being requested to this point. Stony Tribe Eden Valley. The bridge providing access to Eden Valley requires assessment. Until this assessment's done, the traffic is limited to one lane and to light vehicles only. The water treatment plant in Eden Valley has been damaged, and there's a boil water advisory in effect. County of Rocky View, all the evacuation notices have been rescinded. The reception center and the EOC have been closed there. Tsuut'ina First Nation, the community is working to get the water treatment plant back online, and power in the area may be intermittent while utilities are restored over the next few days. A boil water advisory is in effect. Siksika First Nation, about 220 homes on that First Nation have been flooded. 80% of those have basements. We have 3 damage assessment teams that the province put together deployed to that First Nation to assist them with conducting the required damage assessments. One of the 2 water treatment plants there is offline, but one is operational and delivering clean water. The other facility remains out of commission, and a boil water advisory is in effect. Minister Campbell, Minister Hughes, and the Siksika Chief and Council met Monday to discuss provincial support, and yesterday we delivered on the request that the band had for support to assist them in their recovery. Pumping equipment arrived to assist with the dewatering task there. The damage is less there than initially thought, and power is expected to be restored to 90% of the community today. An Alberta Emergency Management Field Officer remains with the community as well. So that concludes the brief that I have for you. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Is there any questions here in the room?
Do you have any update on the debit cards?
So I don't have the details with that. Human Services is finalizing the arrangements for those, and I would expect more detail to be issued later today.
And can you just give a message to people either here in Edmonton that are going on the river here, in Calgary that are going on the river there, about why it is so important that they don't do that?
So 2 reasons. It's very unsafe for themselves, They put their lives at risk for the thrill of being on fast water, but more importantly, it puts the first responders at risk, who are going to have to rescue them when things go bad. And the first responders are busy enough dealing with the aftermath of the flooding to and shouldn't have to worry about, frankly, stupidity.
Okay, are the callers on the line?
At this time, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1. Our first question comes from the line of Gilligan Slade from Medicine On News. Your line is now open.
Good morning, Gillian here. Just wondering, Mr. Gallier, if you could give us an update on who will be handling the flood claims. Will it be LandLink, who handled the claims in 2010 and 2011?
We're working on the details of how we're going to adjust the disaster recovery program, and I can't give you information on that right now. As I say, we're working on the details of how we're going to deliver that program. I can tell you that we're looking at every way possible to streamline the system and to make sure that the program is delivered as efficiently as possible.
Just one other question in that regard. With the debit cards taking a little bit longer to be processed, is there going to be any sort of maybe even cash available for people who are battling financially at the moment, those who have been evacuated?
As I indicated earlier, the final arrangements are being made for the debit cards, and the details will follow later today.
Any questions here in the room?
High River, is that only in public places, or has the team there started on any homes?
I can't speak to the detail of it. I know that there was berms constructed two berms constructed there to prevent more water from coming in, and the dewatering process started. The details of that I really don't have.
Operator, are there any other calls online?
Our next question comes from the line of Sherry Noreen with Sweetgrass newspaper. Your line is now open.
Thank you. I was wondering if there was any impact on the Piikani or Blood First Nations from the flooding.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Another question on the line. Go ahead, operator.
Evan Uselman from 660 News. Your line is now open.
Hi there. I'm just wondering if you can give us a more specific number on the evacuation figures that we have right now in High River, as well as Calgary and First Nations members.
In Calgary, we're tracking about 2,000 evacuees that are being housed in either in reception centers or dormitories in the city. In the High River area, we're tracking about 15,000 people that are out of their homes, and about 1,200 in total from the various First Nations affected by the flood.
Thank you.
Any other calls online?
There are no other questions in the queue.
What exactly will have to happen before the High River residents can begin to move back in?
Well, the town is, and as I say, we have a planning team from the province working with the community to develop their re-entry plan. Typically, you have to, the leadership of the town has to provide a safe environment for their citizens, and that's the number one priority. So they have to make sure that the area is safe, and that's what's happening now. So the steps that have been taken, all buildings have been searched to make sure that there's nobody that was trapped, requiring assistance and that sort of thing. That phase is complete. So the next phase is to do damage assessments on the infrastructure and structures. So it's everything from inspecting bridges to roadways. It's inspecting the individual homes to make sure that they're safe for people to live in. And then the next step would be to get services back into play. People have to, you have to have water. You have to have the sewage treatment plant working. You want the water plants delivering potable water that people can drink. All those sorts of things. You would have heard the mayor of High River and the media indicating that he would also like to have things like gas stations and supermarkets and all the things that make life possible in a community. So the leadership in High River is developing a plan that will have that step-by-step process, and when it's safe for the residents to re-enter the town, and they'll start to enable people to come home.
Any other questions? Any other questions online?
There are no other questions in the queue.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.